there has been just as much excitement this year as we've had in previous years, especially with some players really bringing special plays to the table. We saw Emrek earlier today with some exceptional double time plays, as always. But in relation to this match, Kriller, a player who has been absolutely ripping through this tournament despite suffering a loss to Malashevsky, which can you blame them? Uh, had a great first round match against Itzer Kambing and he played exceptional against Malashevsky, might I add. Just, how do you win that match if he's having a week like he did last week?
Sorry, I'm gonna just offer a quick little tiny background. I am currently reffing this because Nick is MIA at the moment, so I apologize if I'm a little behind on the comms here.
It's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of referee. I mean, no, I don't know why actually, because there's no CWC stuff this weekend either, so unlucky. Chicone on the right-hand side, a little bit lower in qualifiers, has also had a pretty good run through the start of the tournament, albeit taking a loss in the first round, in the round of 16 to MCY4, a player who is to be feared in this tournament, has advanced to this weekend in the semifinals in the winner's bracket to face off against worst HR player. But a good job beating out Scrowell, who I think for a very long time was considered kind of like the next Russian tournament like figurehead almost, I think, and is a lot of the time alongside Chicone and a lot of their other star players. But to defeat Scrowell 6-3 is still a feat impressive even for Chicone and his history and prowess in this tournament. So we'd like to see that. Kriller, obviously, a little bit higher favored in this match, just out of qualifiers and their statistics from previous rounds. They have definitely been strutting their stuff, if you will, in the tournament thus far, and have a lot to prove by advancing to the next weekend. And I think that they are going to do a good job of it if they continue the trend that we have seen thus far, as Kriller opens up here with Nomad 6 to start us off.
Yeah, no surprise, I don't think, to see Kriller opting into some gimmick stuff. I think that's going to be how this match goes, is pretty much Kriller will pick the gimmick, and Chicone will pick the tapping, and then once he runs out of tapping, he'll figure it out from there. Maybe some hard rock. He's been opting into that pool when he doesn't have tapping to go to. But Kriller, I think, going to be pretty heavily advantaged on maps like this, and you already see, I mean, this one is not starting well for Chicone, and starting just as you'd expect for Kriller, who is quite good at these types of maps in comparison to his opponent.
Chicone looking like a lot of the replayers right now when we were trying to play this map, because there's just simply such a high level, like a high barrier of entry, I think, to this sort of pick, unless you are either innately awesome at this skill set or have put a significant number of hours into playing this. These maps are so difficult in the finger control and the perfect stacks, even catching Kriller there on the back and forths. But you see that score lead you talked about, just a huge start.
And this map is just very difficult, right? I feel like this is kind of how it goes as rounds scale. Even for gimmick players, the gimmick maps are harder than an equal skill requirement, like tapping map, for instance. Like, you can expect a tapping player to do fine on a tapping map in this stage, whereas even a gimmick player is still going to struggle a little bit. But Kriller, yeah, I mean, he's up by 70k. Like, not a whole lot for him to worry about. Just built up a big early lead, and I don't know what Chicone is going to be able to do to answer realistically.
Yeah, this is a really great performance from Kriller on this space triple section as well. People don't realize a lot of the time how much aim control that requires to be able to stop and start again and hit another set of triples that are spaced out essentially across the entire screen. Very easy to be inconsistent on that sort of thing. And Kriller with a strong opening pick here, I think, to be expected. A seasoned tournament player, a staple of the tournament scene, easily their best tournament player, and again, just that performance in Closed so far this year has a lot to prove that he can continue this into the later rounds with these more difficult map pools, as the accuracy really serves to be holding up right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is just both players struggling a fair amount with these really difficult aim control patterns. It's very hard to establish a whole lot of combo. I think a short list of players who are going to do well on this map this week. The average scores on this I would anticipate being pretty low, but Kriller just, you know, keeping his nose out in front, like you said, the accuracy helping with that 6% accuracy lead, and of course, has had a better combo through much of the pick as well. This map is so freaking hard, man. I love late round Corsace Closed Nomad 6s because they always just get unhinged. I remember the one from, I think it was semifinals a couple of years ago. There was an IO exception. That might have been grand, but we've had a few really, really hard ones.
There has been traditional stuff. I think that's the nature of Gimmick, right? You talked about, you know, like the Gimmick maps tend to be harder than the mechanics equivalent maps at this stage in the pool, and I think that's as a result of the fact that there's really only like 1 or 2 of them in an entire pool, so you think, well, might as well favor it and like almost guarantee that the Gimmick player takes the win on it, and it looks like that's going to be the case at the very least here in Closed for the semifinals Gimmick pick here, as Kriller takes the win by about 130,000 for there. Chicone, more of a mechanics-favored player, I believe is going to have a great time in that aspect of the pool this week. We've got a lot of super fast DT maps. We've got a lot of tapping-oriented picks, I think, that Chicone is going to want to go for. Kriller's pretty good at aim, so I don't know if I would go for aim, but definitely the tapping, the mechanics, all that left-hand stuff, especially with Kriller banning out DT2, and is going to be Kansho no Matenro, the map that we just saw Emrek set a 800 and something PP play
Yeah,
on.
it was like 860 or something.
Something insane in match against Zudinator. Literally the largest what am I meant to do moment.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to compete against that. Yeah, and I think one thing about this pool, there is a bit of tapping, but not like a huge amount, right? The Nomad 2 isn't kind of your traditional like super stamina Nomad 2. So it comes down to kind of the Nomad 5, DT2, and to a lesser extent this DT1 as well. And you mentioned, you know, Kriller is a solid aim player, but this is such a high BPM, high AR requirement that I don't know that it's necessarily going to be one that's quite so within his wheelhouse compared to a player like Chicone. So I do like this first pick, but I'm curious where Chicone is going to go very quickly because he has really 2 obvious picks to me. And it's this and then probably the Nomad 5 next. And then it becomes more interesting. So we'll have to see how he performs on these early DTs, early tapping picks that he has available to him. Because he's going to need them.
Yeah, this is going to be the strong start that Chicone needs to get into it. I love this accuracy from him at the start, though. It just shows that confidence. You know, accuracy doesn't mean a whole lot as he slider breaks. What the heck? Unlucky. These sliders are very fast. High slider velocity, despite how slow they may look. Kriller gonna give that lead back over right there, though.
Yeah, Kriller with a little miss-aim, unfortunately, but we'll see. Not a huge combo advantage for Chicone, but it is a noticeable ACK lead, of course, holding, I think that's just like the slider break, right? That's all that he has dropped in ACK. So he'll be able to establish a little bit of a lead, but it is just going to be about the combo, third of the way through. Very, very close. Both make it through that section and through the kick slider jumps, so this is going to stay dead even for now, and Kriller is building the ACK up back a little bit. He's gotten over that 93.4, or 98, I mean 0.4 mark, so not all that far behind.
This is definitely a scary scenario for Chicone. Unfortunately, not scary anymore for Kriller, but fortunately for Chicone, that accuracy and combo now making all the difference in the world, as again, we talk about how Chicone's strong on that accuracy and combo through mechanics, and he is proving it right now. That lead continuing to increase on a pretty difficult map. Gosh, I remember when this map was like a tiebreaker in Suiji.
I don't think this map has any DTFCs either.
It does after this morning.
Wasn't it? He didn't FC.
Oh, was it not an FC? No. Oh, no.
Emrek missed, like, in the last, like, 20 combo.
Oh, that's tragic, actually.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So, this is, like, kind of unprecedented stuff that the players are able to do. There's a break from Chicone. It's a decent combo lead for Kriller. He'll need a little bit of help, of course, down 100k, but a quarter of the map is a decent amount of score still remaining. This is a very note-dense pool. So a lot of score still remains to be picked up. There is a little quiet part here, but you have the entire last Ki as well. technically speaking, comebackable for Kriller, but it's very difficult unless Chicone finds multiple breaks.
Yeah, it's doable, but it's very unlikely. And oh wow, massive chain miss. Yeah, there you go. Now it's done. Chicone doing himself every favor in the world to win this pick here, putting up some of the best accuracy that I have seen on this map ever with double time. That is absolutely ridiculous levels of confidence right there. And again, I feel like that is the main focus of accuracy, right? It is that big confidence indicator. Can I play this map competently despite the breaks that you may see from the player? If they have high ac, you can probably assume that this play is either replicable or improvable, honestly, in most cases. And Kriller with the most massive spinner performance I've ever seen at the ending there. Unfortunately, not enough to beat out Chicone as they tie up this match 1-1 at the start. Both players with a very comfortable and healthy margin from their opponent on their own first pick here, which is what we want to be seeing.
Yeah, that was a super, super solid first pick from both guys. I mean, obviously, Chicone's performance on Kriller's first pick probably looked worse than Kriller's performance on Chicone's first pick, but that's also kind of just a function of the type of maps they were.
I think, yeah, Kriller had a little bit of a high score on that due to it being very aim-focused.
Yeah, exactly. Kriller was able to put up a pretty decent score on the DT1, but either way, both of them looked pretty good on their own first picks. And unsurprisingly, Kriller going to continue picking the non-standard stuff, opting into the Nomad 3 here, which is pretty much what you might anticipate, something along these lines, kind of reading aim control as well. This is a pretty challenging map also, so Kriller might be picking these kind of skill cap non-standard maps to combat what we know about Chicone being a very strong mechanics player.
Very true. Insert what the expletive is Nomad 3 here, profile picture imminently. Mashalik, I don't even know how to say this. Mashalixotl, something like that. I'm going to butcher that.
Makuzochtl? Or something sort of close to that?
Makuzochtl? I don't know. Someone help me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Also, yeah, screen says Kriller won DT1. Obviously, it was Chicone winning the DT1, so hopefully it can get that fixed on the back end. I don't know. Not a big deal. Everybody knows.
We saw what happened.
Yeah, everybody saw it. It's not a big deal. No worries.
This is an old Nomad 3, though. This map has been around for quite a long time, unless this is a newer version of it, which I don't believe it is because it says Mapper Rajoto. So this is... Now, I don't know if I've seen this pooled in tournaments quite as much as of lately, but I know that at least in terms of this set, the Hollow Wings difficulty on this set has been very popular for a very long time. And I'm interested to see what these players do with this almost like aim control alt-style map here.
Yeah. It's a super cool map, very challenging. As I think kind of tends to be the case with these really difficult alt picks, it's very easy to chain miss because if you miss the first circle of a pattern, it's really easy to just fall off the entire rest of it. So watch out for any possible chain misses. I know we saw some of those both ways from Emrek and Zudinator earlier in their match. And you can see the early chain misses coming out a couple times from Chicone here as well. But looks like both players stabilizing here a little bit. But again, Kriller with just that massive accuracy lead on his own pick. It's helping him to a pretty sizable early lead. As there's one of those chain misses for Chicone, loses some score, and that score lead is growing fast and furiously as we are already halfway through, and it is a 150k lead.
Yeah, this is, unfortunately for Chicone, I think how we saw these early picks going for Kriller, and I think this is how we're going to see things go for Chicone as well at the start of this match. Both of these players, with their tournament experience and with their slight skill set differences early on, I think are going to be doing a really good job of just opening up with these strong picks to try and get that baseline down, and then, you know, we might start to see things get a little bit more interesting as the match goes on. Some of those surefire picks start to whittle down, and then we really start to see what these players are made of in terms of their overall breadth of playing ability.
Yeah, we talked about this, and it's been a constant over the course of this tournament. We talked about this on Full Circle yesterday for anybody who was able to check that out, where a lot of these matches are a player who is really good at one specific skill set, often tapping tends to be the case, against a player who's quite well-rounded but maybe weaker on tapping. And it leads to matches where the first few picks are super, super one-sided both ways, And then it gets very, very interesting later on as they have to contend with skill sets that maybe they aren't quite as strong. We saw that happen last week, like Zudinator versus Nineric, for instance. Nineric leveraging the speed almost all the way through that match until it was like 4-4. And Chicone looking to do the same thing here, but again, a very strong performance from Kriller on his first couple of picks there. That's a 486k 6 miss, which is quite respectable to say the least on a very challenging map.
Extremely, indeed. And I think, again, those statistics really do speak volumes about Kriller's performance in this tournament and where he's very strong right now. And you can kind of see that, especially that precision skill set. A big strong point for Kriller. Very good at the aim control, very good at the finger control. This is almost his best skill set, I would argue, on top of like aim, I would say. And Chicone, while strong in those areas, certainly is not the matchup for Kriller that I think is that direct one-on-one. Definitely more on the speed and stamina for Chicone, and rightfully so. Celestial Stinger, the Nomad 5, is the next pick here for our qualifier seed 14, looking to continue this battle of back and forth at the start here, and I think this is a good opportunity to continue that. I don't know if Kriller will be able to combo some of the middle sections of this. We'll see.
Yeah, this Nomad 5 kind of fixes a lot of the issues I think that players had with last week's Nomad 5, which, you know, was a little bit too player friendly, even to players who aren't as good at this skill set. Whereas this one, the flow aim in the tapping sections is more difficult. The aim is more difficult throughout as well. So it kind of just ramps up the difficulty in multiple ways. And so far it's going, you know, well. That's a break from Chicone. He drops some accuracy down. Kriller mashes his way through and somehow holds. He drops all the way down to 89 AC. Still behind, by the way, despite a 400 combo lead, thanks to the 9% AC gap. But if he continues to hold on to the combo, this is not a long map. He might be able to bring this back, but man, it's tough when your AC is that far behind.
This is a very rough point here for Kriller. Chicone needs... Oh, I was going to say Kriller with the Will Stetson arc on that stream, but that was a crazy performance with some... I saw not too much, a little bit. Chicone with that accuracy lead now in the combo, though, going to be maintaining this, albeit in much closer fashion than their first pick. Still going to come out with the win, which is all that really matters in the end, but just that confidence from Chicone. Again, I see finding some misses on the flow aim, but the accuracy just so impressive for Chicone on these faster maps. 15-100s, only 2 misses on some of those cut spacings, and 98% to 90% there, despite almost 200 more combo from Kriller, and an absolute onslaught wins their own map.
That was what happens when somebody who can sort of fake their way through speed plays against an actual speed player. Like 97.99 to 90.08 AC. I don't know. That tells the story right there. I still think Nomad 5 and DT2 as well should just be AC win con in tournaments permanently.
True. That would be so cool to see, because speed like that. Although, I don't know, some of the stamina players of the community might not be too happy about that one.
That's their problem.
Oh, unlucky.
That's a skill issue.
That's
a skill issue. So we're going to go into second ban phase. Got to figure that Chicone bans a gimmicky pick. Could be the Nomad 4. Could be maybe the hidden 1 or 3. Kriller, I'm not actually sure. Okay, and it's not going to be either of those. It's going to be Nomad 1.
Okay, I understand that from Chicone.
I mean, I get it, but I kind of thought that it would be a gimmick ban. Chicone's pretty decent at aim, right? Like, I mean, I know he's known for being a tapping player, but it's not like his aim is bad.
I agree. I think that's probably a strong argument for it, but against Kriller, I don't know if, like, having to make that choice between do I ban aim and do I ban gimmick is either, you know, a downside or an upside in that case. Chicone, while, like, again, very good tournament player, very good mechanics, has never been the player to win, like, every single aim pick. It's almost like if you watched, like, the United States OWC in, like, 2021 and 2020, despite how good they were as a team, they just could not win aim. Like,
right.
I almost feel like it's that similar, like, so good, but just... And especially against Kriller, like, you know, it's an understandable thing to want to avoid.
And so the pick will go to Kriller. 2-2 tie. And unsurprisingly, he is going to stay within his comfy confines of the less traditional maps. He's going to opt into Hidden 3. So we're going to open up the Hidden pool. See if he goes maybe Hidden 3, Hidden 1 here with his next 2 picks. I like this. I think this is pretty anticipated. Definitely the stronger Hidden player of these two.
Yes, I agree. Proven through the tournament and through this match and through every instance of Kriller playing tournaments ever, they are a very strong Hidden player. The Hidden 2 ban from Chicone, albeit a very different kind of map as someone who was forced to get all these Hidden replays for this week. Hidden 3 is very difficult. It is very rhythm-oriented. There's a lot of quick switches and changes throughout the sections of this map that match the spacing in a lot of cases, which is good, and it does help these players kind of more confidently navigate this map, but it's still not a perfect science, especially with Hidden on, and you don't have really anything to go off of besides some very fast fading hit circles with the intensity of this map and some of the spacings. But both players starting off strong here. This is not a super long map at 1 minute and 30 seconds here, so the margin of error is quite small.
Yeah, there's several of these maps like this in the pool. They're pretty short, and if you fall behind in combo, if you find some breaks, you might be in danger. But players both starting off with very similar accuracy. Finally, though, there is that crucial break from Chicone right before the halfway mark, finds another break as well. Meanwhile, Kriller holding his way through that space pattern as well. Chicone chain misses it, and that could well just be the map over right there. As you said, this is so short. One series of misses can just be all she wrote for you, and that might unfortunately be the case here for Chicone, as Kriller held through that despite dropping a bit of ACK. Retains the ACK lead, retains the combo lead, score lead, 200k already.
Big gap here. The ending section of this map is by far the hardest part. More sliders thrown into these kind of finger control, aim control patterns. Again, one of Kriller's highest skill sets in this tournament and in tournaments in general. Rhythm changes are absolutely nothing to him as he continues flawlessly navigating these slider aim patterns in between doubles, increased spacing, triples that are spaced out all the way through. Does Kriller make it all the way to the end, the final 10th of the map now, and it slows down into a slider stream, continuing to make it through as Chicone finds the breaks, and the most exciting play we've almost seen of this match as Kriller finally breaks at the ending, but not before an 850k score. What a crazy performance, and now we really start to see these players break into comfortable picks. Wow, an S rank.
Yeah, that is just Kriller unleashed, man. A shame about the break near the very end, but otherwise a sparkling performance. Unreal stuff on that pick. Clearly so comfortable on these awkward, very challenging, technically demanding, gimmicky maps. And man, oh man, that is quite the one-sided affair. Kriller just had himself a map there.
Kriller just 1v2'd that pick with the 500k score gap against a 300k there, which is something that we don't see too often in 1v1 tournaments at this level of difficulty in a late stage. And we've been talking about it the entire match, right? That finger control, that precision, that ability to navigate picks like that for Kriller is such a strong point for them, and it's going to win them these picks in 99.9% of cases against other players who will dare to go up against him. And Chicone, not in a bad spot, however. Still no breakpoint for either of these players. Only going back and forth on these picks. Now needs to find an equally strong pick to start to kind of bring up our confidence that we can see this type of gap from either of these players here. Kriller showed it with Hidden 3, and now Chicone going in for Hard Rock 2 on Crazy Backup Dancers. A very difficult Hard Rock pick in this pool by Consumer of Bean for the next pick.
Yeah, and I mean, with all the raw tapping stuff gone, you know, it makes sense that he had to go somewhere else. And we talked already about him going into some hard rock when he runs out of tapping maps. So not super surprised to see Chicone opting into this hard rock 2 here. This is a very hard precision map, circle size tiny. What is this, 7 or something? So I forget. It's smaller circles than normal. Yes, he has 7.8 and leans super heavily into the aim precision. So not very tapping focused, but your aim has to be on point. And we'll see who is up to the task here.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the mechanics from Chicone, but a very good Hard Rock player alongside that. The AR, nothing to him. The accuracy, something that a lot of Hard Rock players who are casually Hard Rock players don't always have knocked down, but Chicone generally does as well. So the only point of difficulty here is going to be on this aim and precision. And right now, Kriller actually going to be the one to fall by the wayside, despite being so good at the precision. Maybe not quite as comfortable on the Hard Rock precision, especially with the spacing of some of these. And Chicone really putting up a big gap before finally finding breaks there. Almost 100K.
Oh, several misses in that section of map from Chicone. He's going to drop the act down. He's going to lose a little bit of score. Fortunately for him, Kriller finding the break right after will not be able to really take any advantage away from the Chicone misses. And, I mean, you can just see the difficulty inherent in circle size this small. It's so difficult to aim. I don't know, is this like just a mouse stiff map for Chicone?
It could be.
Than on tablet?
It's very not snappy, so mouse drift should be almost a non-issue. I guess the only thing is how continuous it would be, but I think both players would be a different either DPI or if Kriller's area is a little bit smaller maybe too. I wish I knew what Kriller's area-ish was off the top of my head, but both players continuing to trade out misses here as I think Chicone has all but secured this into the last quarter unless he has an absolute meltdown here. Both players been trading out breaks relatively frequently here as the scores are close, but...
Wait a second, that's a big miss for Chicone.
Hold on. Kriller? Oh, there it is.
The over-aim on that linear jump, man, it's... like, linear patterns are already difficult enough, and then you make it circle size 7.8, and it's like, just good luck, man. The opportunity was almost there for Kriller to bring that back, but just could not quite make it happen. That is, I believe, the closest score we've had by a significant margin, just 30K, but it's enough. Chicone will take what he can get.
Win, and we take wins for Chicone here to keep this match even. Does it inspire the same level of confidence that we saw from Kriller's pick of this second half of the match after the second bans? Not quite, but I also don't think that Hard Rock 2 is the strongest pick that Chicone has left in the pool, in my opinion. I think Hard Rock 2 is much more in contention between these two players when it comes to a skill set like that. So I think it's even better that Chicone was able to win that map because that may leave something more confident for later on when he may need to get that match point inevitably, because Kriller, being the first one to take the pick, will be the first one to reach match point.
Yeah, assuming no breakpoints. So we're going to see an unsurprising Nomad 4 pick. I think it was either this or Hidden One at this stage of things for Kriller. So he'll opt into the Nomad slider aim tech map.
Freaking awesome, by the way. This map is so much fun.
Yeah, I think this one might be a little more one-sided than the map we just saw. I don't really know that Chicone has the ability to contend Kriller on a late-ish stage tech map. Especially after seeing what Kriller did on last week's Nomad 4 and knowing how good he is at tech. So we'll get into this and see how it goes. This one feels much more favored to Kriller than many of the remaining picks that Chicone might opt into will be to him.
These high-intensity slider aim patterns in here really the main thing to focus on in this pick. There is a little bit of classic like tech aim control almost, if you will, at the beginning section of this map with some doubles and snaps in, but for the most part we're really looking for that slider accuracy for these players here. This is a slider aim map in its purest form, despite being called a tech map just because of the velocity of said sliders. It's an aim skill set map. If you are stronger at aim today, you will win this map for the majority of the pick. And if both players make it through the beginning, it's going to get interesting as we get into the first key eye here. Long, fast sliders. And here we go. Little bit of tech here with these snaps in between at the beginning. This starts to disappear as the map progresses, and we get more aim focused in these sliders. But both players somewhat confident despite a slider break from Chicone early. 99% accuracy almost, and a 98 from Kriller, still holding that combo.
Yeah, that was a super impressive combo from Chicone to start the map off. Unfortunately, did find that slider break, and Kriller going to continue to hold, sacrificing a little bit of accuracy to keep that combo alive, but both players, excuse me, just Kriller does make it through the slider streams into the fastball slider as well. Chicone with another break, and now is kind of the opportunity for Kriller to run away with this map, as you might expect him to do in this matchup. He is holding and holding strong, dropping fewer slider ends than he was previously, as these sliders are just a little bit shorter, easier to avoid missing those ending ticks. And Chicone finding a couple more breaks, unfortunately, before this slowdown means that Kriller's advantage will only continue to grow, as he is looking so strong on this map, showing off, you know, just what he's capable of on these slider tech maps.
Oh, man, dude. Chicone has really only been missing, like, slider ends, too, which is the tragic part, just leaving too early. And mid 98% accuracy. Chicone's pretty good at this map, all things considered, but Kriller just has this down to a science at this point with slider aim, even through those cut slider streams. Finally missed. This is the hardest section of the map. I don't know how anyone combos this.
Yeah, when you hit the 2/3 mark of this map, all hell breaks loose. These sliders are absolutely absurd. And you're just going to see players breaking through here, I would expect. It's so hard to keep any sort of combo alive in this section, but once you get to this point, if you're in Kriller's shoes and you're up by 200k, you have done your job. Only a quarter of the way to go, and up by 200k. And as you said, I mean, Chicone did not look bad through most of this pick. He has fallen off a little bit as it's gone on, but he was holding on to an act lead and keeping up as best he could, just with a couple unfortunate breaks. But Kriller, like you said, showing the expertise, showing the skill at his craft, and it's going to be a good one for him here, as he's going to pull away in the end.
Good stuff from Kriller, finding a slider break. Chicone is almost going to end the map with the combo lead here, unfortunately. Far too gone, as the slider break comes in at the ending, and both players not quite as strong through that middle section as the beginning, obviously. That early combo making such a big difference here, and both actually hitting quite a bit of that map. Accuracy a little bit higher for Kriller at the ending. I think Chicone, you could kind of see through that ending section, was really just trying to focus on hitting those slider heads rather than anything else. So we're going to see some act drops on that side as Kriller continues to inspire confidence with these picks, as 4 misses from both sides, but the 50s are really what you're looking for on this map. So it's essentially 10 more misses for Chicone on that map than Kriller, and a 200,000, almost on the dot, score lead for our German contender here, as Chicone looks to once again trade a pick back, as we basically go to 1 pick each now in the ending for Chicone to win this and drag this to a tiebreaker for both sides. It's the DT3, another strong pick, I think, for Chicone. Fast alt DT.
Yeah, this is 444 BPM. I did a double take when I saw that BPM on the map pool sheet, but it is correct. This is an incredibly fast alt map. I mean, I don't really think you can consider that speed, right? Because it is an alt pick. That is the style of maps. It's not really, you know, it's not like we're trying to ask people to tap 444 BPM. That's pretty much impossible. But this one is the fastest of the remaining picks by obviously a vast margin. And so makes sense, I think, for Chicone's, you know, second to last pick here. And I don't know, Kriller's really good at alt, but this type of map is not something that a lot of players are super comfortable with.
Yeah, this is, I think, another Chicone favored map by virtue of BPM, honestly. DT3 this week, while it is an alt map, and we talk a lot about how Kriller is very strong at alt, everything otherwise, it is a fast map. It is a high AR map. And that is something that Chicone is extremely strong at, despite Kriller being able to play this probably confidently, honestly. Kriller, no shortage of DT plays. I'm excited to see what Chicone is going to be able to do on this, given his accuracy and combo on DT in this match thus far. Both players holding at the beginning here, though, about the same accuracy at the start. A significantly longer map than some maps we've seen as recent, and almost 4 minutes of this type of patterning.
Yeah, this DT pool in general is quite long, All 3 picks are over 3 minutes and then some. So definitely going to be testing your consistency, which I feel on this sort of kind of flowy alt means that you really have to be locked in. Your concentration has to be on point the entire way through. But so good for both these guys. Again, Chicone with the accuracy advantage on his own pick, as we saw earlier on those speedier picks. But just Kriller keeping the combo alive to match, so he will, be there to jump on any misses from Chicone, but for now, that accuracy lead 3%, doing a lot of work.
The combo game enjoyers from Kriller right now as we come into the next key eye of the map, the first full key eye here. Chicone inspiring that confidence we've been looking for the entire match on this pick right now. Kriller refuses to let him run away with this, though, despite the almost 99% accuracy from Chicone. And both players now see it at the pause. Maybe a little bit nervous for Chicone, maybe a little bit nervous for Kriller, as the scores are only 30,000 apart. And Kriller attempts to hope that Chicone finds the first break in here, but Chicone not letting up in any way. Again, that confidence on DT far too strong for them to let this slip away right now. A harder section of the map here with this breakdown, but everyone holding through these faster snap patterns, these doubles, these dense triangles. What are we witnessing right now halfway through the map? And Kriller finally finds a break, and Chicone has a bit of security. Maybe not, with a break immediately following.
Yeah, not the security he wanted in terms of the combo lead, perhaps, but he does have that score advantage jumped immediately up to 80,000 points thanks to the accuracy lead in that greater combo before his miss, as well as Kriller finding another break after. They do trade a couple of misses through that middle third of the map, and it's more or less dead, even a little bit in favor of Kriller trying to bring this score gap back, but that lead went so far so fast. 80,000 points was nearly instantaneous. And with some more breaks coming through as this map just continues unrelenting, it will be Chicone to hold on to a reasonable enough lead, 70,000 points in his favor. And I don't know that that's a sort of lead he's likely to relinquish anytime soon, looking very strong despite those breaks compared to his opponent.
The accuracy on Chicone, while it is not giving him the lead right now, that combo did, it's certainly helping from Kriller's, it's helping to prevent Kriller's comeback right now, because that higher accuracy is going to mean that Chicone is gaining score at a faster rate than Kriller is at 96%. So even if they have the same combo, Kriller is making almost no progress right now, despite now having almost 300 combo of lead. You can see the map slowly closing, but we're only going down maybe 1,000 score every 3 to 4 seconds right now, and I just don't think there's enough time left in the map, especially with Kriller finding another break here, and Chicone in slightly closer fashion once again, but still maintaining the confidence on their own picks in the DT here into the ending. The 60,000 plus score, and we bring this match 4-4 now as these players look to potentially send this one to tiebreaker, neither one letting up. Kriller going ham on these spinners.
No kidding. I think Kriller made up like 20k score on that spinner, bro. He went nuts. But it was obviously all for naught. And you wonder, if that accuracy, if he was able to build up that 1% more ac. But man, Chicone 1 miss, 1337 combo. That's even with slider breaks included in there. That's a really, really solid play. That was super competitive though, man. It just felt almost all the way through like it about could have gone either way. But instead, Chicone takes it. As you said, 1 pick left per player. Kriller, unsurprisingly, going to opt to close out the hidden pool with his last pick. It's going to be hidden 1. So we are going to go Chaos Eater. And I don't think this is any sort of surprise. You get a hidden band against you. You pick and win a different hidden. Might as well pick the last one. It's going to leave Chicone with his choice of 2 hard rock maps for his own last pick. But first, this one I actually think can be pretty competitive. Chicone not known as a hidden player, but, some tapping requirement in this one. Low BPM, though it may be a little heavier than the aim requirement. So maybe a little more in his favor than other hidden picks might have been.
I think the hidden pool this week was very similar, aside from hidden 2, which was obviously more reading focused, but the finger control, aim control aspects of hidden 3 do not disappear in hidden 1. Hidden 1 almost to me is like an amalgamation of all of the hidden picks kind of into one singular map. you know, that start and stop pausing with the spacing in here. Some overlapping, not perfect stacks, but definitely overlapping with some triples at the ending. And that awkward style of aim that we've come to expect from Function maps. This is a, I think, confident pick from Kriller, but I don't think anything is guaranteed on a map like this with how RNG some of these sections can potentially be.
Yeah, I feel once you get this deep into a match, it's very rare for maps to feel very straightforward for either player because you're typically running out of stuff that you're super comfortable and confident in. But early goings, Kriller looking strong, and a couple breaks from Chicone. Those overlapping wide angle back and forth linear jump patterns, very, very demanding. It's so easy to just misread, misaim, go over a circle or whatever, and that's happened to Chicone about 4 times already. Kriller does find his own first break on one of those reversing tapping stream patterns, but already up by 170k. It's not looking great, excuse me, 140k. Not looking great for Chicone so far.
Yeah, that combo break from Kriller there is going to halt the score lead. As I say that, Kriller and Chicone both finding breaks on that back and forth jump section there, going to keep things even once again. And as we come into this more difficult section of the triples at the ending here with these quick switches, Chicone going to find one more break as Kriller looks to advance that lead to a much more comfortable position. Given how short this map is, score lead can come down very, very quickly as once again Kriller looks to snag another one of his picks despite breaks on both sides at the ending. I think it may just be secure almost 200,000 score for another time for Kriller in this match, confidently closing out a map, and now it is on Chicone to force that match point, to force the tiebreaker out. Both players have done an exceptional job of it in this match thus far. Chicone, you cannot let up now. This is the final pick of the regular map pool before getting into tiebreaker, and while Kriller has had larger score gaps, we have no reason to believe that Chicone will not be able to win his own pick right now. He has done a very good job of doing so thus far.
Yeah, 9 maps in, no break points at all, and very little even approaching a break point. We had one, we've had one, arguably 2 close-ish maps, and really that's been it. Everyone has looked super comfortable on their own picks. And the question here is, of course, between the 2 remaining maps, will Chicone be able to find one that functions similarly? It's going to be looking like the Hard Rock 3 as our last pick of this match. So we're going to go HR Alt as the final pick before a possible tiebreaker.
Hard Rock enjoyers?
Any Hard Rock enjoyers? We are actually the only map picked or banned in this match is going to be a Hard Rock, so not quite Hard Rock enjoyers, but enjoyers.
Forced Hard Rock enjoyment.
Yeah, the only map not touched is Hard Rock 1, sadly, but yeah, we're going to go Darling Dance. Last pick. It's a lengthy Hard Rock alt map, and I genuinely don't know who this favors at all.
Well, Chicone was the winner of Hard Rock 2, the Precision Hard Rock map, and immediately following with Double Time 3, the alt Double Time map. Now we mesh those together in Darling Dance, and Chicone wins by the combined score difference of Hard Rock 2 and DT3. That's simple math, everyone. If that doesn't happen, I am spreading misinformation on the internet. This is the final opportunity for Chicone, and all jokes aside, he has won 2 picks thus far that do match up to the skill sets of what this map requires. Although Kriller is a very strong alt player and very strong Hard Rock player, Chicone has done just as good of a job of being strong through these skill sets in this match, as the only thing we really worry about in a map like this is those overlaps.
Yeah, this one is going to be, I think, quite interesting. I think, you know, as you were saying, it does suit the skill set of Chicone in that he's a solid Hard Rock player and generally speaking a solid alt player, but, you know, Kriller, obviously the superior despite the early break, the superior, like, gimmick player, and there is some kind of wonky stuff to this one that you don't always see in a Hard Rock pick, so we'll have to find out how it goes, but so far so good. Chicone with that early couple hundred combo advantage just about.
This is gimmicky enough, though, where these combo gaps between the players on sections like this are going to mean a heck of a lot more than they usually would, because usually when you get to some of these hard rock sections, you see both players break more often than one, so if Chicone can maintain a score lead at the beginning and then hope that both players just miss at the same spot as Chicone gets past slidered, did not follow all the way through.
And that's a big combo lead for Kriller. 400 combo and then some with another break from Chicone in his favor. It's about 500 combo lead. The score should be going over as long as he can hold through just a little longer.
There it is.
And there it goes, flickering on over into this really cool. I love this patterning, by the way. It's
so cool.
Yeah. In the quick burst, catch out Chicone again. The finger control. Oh, he chain misses. That is score drop for Chicone as he has a lot of trouble with that section of map. And that might spell doom. Kriller gonna smell blood in the water, and he will race out all of a sudden to lead 100,000 points.
Kriller with those star points right now, making it through the finger control. Again, we talked about how strong Chicone was on alt and hard rock, but the gimmick aspect of this map, those overlaps, those rhythm control sections are really where Kriller lets his skill set shine on this pick. And despite the fact that Chicone has looked so good in this map thus far, that combo lead is so far in the lead now for Kriller. 170,000 and will continue to climb through this next section here on just back and forth streams. This is free combo density for Kriller right now. If we see a break from Kriller before the quarter of the waypoint, we may get an opportunity. Hold on, 500 combo.
The question is, though, can he bring back 200,000 points? He basically has to FC the rest of the map in order to try to bring this back, because that score lead got very, very big. But if there was ever going to be a chance, a slight opening of that doorway, this was what it was needed. And there it goes. Chicone falls. The combo breaks, and that will probably settle this one. Kriller with 170 score lead still intact. Chicone with no combo to combat it anymore. And I think the writing's on the wall here on this one, Chiller.
Yeah, only a quarter of the way left to go in the map with 500 combo, and that break at the ending just securing things. Kriller now once again with that lead on the accuracy and the combo, and a ridiculous middle section performance there, as Kriller will be advancing to the next round of the winner's bracket, as Chicone is unfortunately eliminated in the final possible moments before tiebreaker. Just such a strong performance from Kriller, as always. We said Kriller had a lot to prove in this match and how he's been performing in this tournament thus far, and once again delivering for the third week in a row. It's Kriller to win 6-4, sending Chicone out of the competition in the losers bracket semifinals, as they will now advance to the second round of the losers bracket to face the winner of Flying Tuna or Taquito.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting match, regardless of who wins the Taquito Tuna match, because I think Kriller matches up really interestingly against both of those guys.
That's going to be fun to watch. That is going to be fun to watch, and I'm honestly very interested to who wins between Taquito and Flying Tuna as well, because Flying Tuna, the GOAT of all time in tournaments, and Taquito, a newer GOAT of all time in tournaments, facing off against each other on a modern map pool, a very difficult map pool. Should be fun to see, and then going up against Kriller, who, like we've shown here, has just been absolutely ripping through this tournament thus far, despite suffering a loss against one of our, honestly, favorites to win the tournament. You know, this is a strong performance from everyone involved right now, and I'm very excited to see what happens for the remainder of the semifinals here.
Yeah, there are still several really good matches to come. Man, I love when these late round pools, everything just gets so exciting. When the matchups get really close, the pools get hard, the performances get better and better. So it is going to be exciting. We have, what do we have next? Tuna Taquito, that match is in an hour.
Close.
And then later today, we get Decatur versus Intercambing. That's also going to be a really good match. And of course, we go on into the next stage of things from there. So that is going to do it for Kriller versus Chicone. Congratulations to Kriller, the victor. 6-4 scoreline. Very well fought match both ways. As said, we will be back in an hour and 10 minutes, 17 UTC, 1 p.m. Eastern time for Tuna versus Taquito. In the meantime, if you need some entertainment, you can go, of course, check out our lovely Corsace manga or our Corsace for Coma over on Twitter. And, of course, for all of your peripheral needs, check out tournament sponsor Momokai. Discount code Corsace at their store for any of your Tap Trio, etc. needs. But for now, thank you all for joining us. I've been T1G. He's been Chili Repair. We'll see you guys in an hour and 10 minutes as Closed 24 semifinals week continues onward.